Live.
Are we started then? Are we ready to rock and roll? Have you done the
Oh
intro? Is
yeah,
that the intro? The
this is
intro is Dan just going on.
this is just how we roll, Tom. I'll do an official
Cool.
intro. I'll chop.
Oh yeah, no, we
I'll chop
like to be fair, Johnny would have recorded the really interesting stuff we were saying before.
We were discussing the previous British champion winners when the UKBFF was actually a federation and not a pile of turds.
I mean, I can't. Did they lose it because they were pricks to everyone, or was it? So you reckon they looked at it and went, "These guys are being dicks to everyone." I remember, yeah, it was very clicky, and not really around the competitors, just very. It was a
yeah, it was from what I saw. I wasn't prepping people at that time, but I was a competitor at that time, and I flat out refused to go and compete with UKPFF. I was like, no, I'll just do NABA and I'll do like small like standalone shows and stuff. I'm not going to go do UKPFF. I probably wasn't good enough to do anything decent in there when I was a junior, but like still, you know, I never wanted to do it, and I always told my mates, I was like, you're probably not best not wasting your money or time doing it unless you're like gonna be a pro. You know?
Yeah, I mean that was
better the devil, you know, because I can't imagine much has really changed since then. Because the biggest thing I think gripe that people had was if you competed with another federation.
They like banned you or made you pay a fee to come back.
Yeah, they were really like on that. Voiding people's invites as well was a good one. They were just like, if you won a regional and you wanted to, they just void your invite, wouldn't they? And they weren't fucking about with it. They were proper on it. Yeah. They were proper on it.
Yeah, they were not. They didn't really know how to run a business.
Well, I mean, yeah, the model quite clearly failed for that very reason, and now we have a kind of a reverse model, which is much better for the athletes. And actually, like, you know, people give a lot of stick to two bros and stuff, but I've never been to better organised shows, if I'm honest. Maybe I've been lucky, but
I think PCA are very militant with how well it's run on the day. It's like your class is on, you do this, you do that, but it's all like, you know, even when Ryan speaks as an MC, it's the same. He's got a speech, he rehearses it for each class. It's all worked its way through. Job's done. Awards, next one. And then it's good. And Two Bros has gone, we need to be that good. We need to be that good.
Yeah.
And they've done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've never competed with a PCA, but from if I've had people doing it or when I've gone along, it's a good atmosphere as well, and you can tell that it's well catered for. And you know what it's like. Well, I suppose the other thing is as well. Do you remember the UKBFF? The bodybuilding was always last.
Yeah, and you would start an hour and a half late. Yeah.
Oh, at least.
Have you been to the NABA England before? Have you competed or done the NABA England before?
No, I didn't do. I did the British.
So started one time. I went. Started 2 hours late. Yeah, 2 hours late. Okay, then it was it overran by 4 hours or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you still have to register.
It was ridiculous. It was. I had gone home. Like my buddy Jack was competing. Jack Brooker.
Yeah.
So Jack was competing, and that's when he
Sorry, Dan.
But
I know Jack.
Sorry, Dan.
I know Jack.
They basically. I don't get this inside joke now.
Oh no! Well, he beat me for the overall at the Universe in 2008.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
deservedly.
So he was. That's when he did the England beforehand to go call for that. He basically like I saw all the photos the next day because I had gone to bed by the time that they were finished. So like they were like pumping out the photos. I was like, oh, Jack won, cool, like, you know.
Yeah, NABA have always done that, haven't they? It doesn't matter what, it's mental. Because especially as class 1 or super heavyweights, you're always you register like 10 the same time as everyone else. You don't leave the venue till like 11 p.m.
There's only so many rice cakes you can eat in a day. Salted rice cake.
Have to send your missus to go and get like another pack. Just there's a shop around the corner. Just get another one. I think we're going to be here a while.
Or you're just worried that like the one time you would actually go and relax would be like you're on now.
Yeah.
Always the case.
You're in a constant state of paranoia.
Mate, it really did. I mean, you still kind of get it now, but at least with the more regimented shows like recently.
And the good thing with show then moving male bodybuilding early on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is nice, like, because these are the guys that are pushing it to the limit. They are probably pushing things a bit further. They are probably more likely to be using diuretics. They probably need to get on, get off, and get hydrated. You know?
No, I don't think NABA have done it though, have they?
No, now they haven't, because they're still stuck in the dark ages. That's why they don't have a social media. Like,
I still find that amazing. They updated their website like once, like 2 years ago.
They just never again.
And it's exactly the same as when it went up. And there's no, and then COVID happened, and because they're all over 90, they like just shut down because they were all at risk.
And my favorite bit with NABA was they literally they commented when people were having a go on social media. They were saying, well, none of the venues have been open. And I'm like, have you just seen the last 20 shows that have been on at the back end of this year? Like, what do you want about? There was venues, you dickhead. Like, oh, dear. That was funny.
Right, let me do the intro then, gents, and then I can chop it in somewhere near the start.
Somewhere near the beginning.
Somewhere near the start. Right, welcome back to Bash Bros Podcast, episode 64. Somewhat of a slimlined cast. Today, we don't have Ryan because Ryan's having internet issues, and we've been abandoned by another host who seems to be no longer attending the Bash Bros podcast.
We're going through hosts like we are guests at the moment at breakneck speed.
Yeah.
Is it something I said?
I think it's you, Dan. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was you.
I'd leave if there was another me.
Yeah. I've been tempted. But today,
already tempted. I might just get out.
we are welcomed by none other than Tom Hims, one of the biggest names in UK coaching at this point in time, and deservedly so. I don't know how I'm going to get this off the screen right now.
477,000 first places. That's what I read today.
Yeah, it was on
something like that. A little bit less, maybe like.
I was close.
That's a lot of achievement in coaching.
It's all right. It's okay. I've seen better.
It will be better.
For those who don't know Tom, head over, give him a follow. Obviously, he's got some amazing success in coaching competitive bodybuilders in varying categories. I first met Tom a long time ago. I think it was back in 2015. We competed together.
Yeah. And you kicked my ass.
Well, the irony is that back in 2015, I think we were both way off the money there. So I think I was just the better of the two shitter bodybuilders that day.
Maybe, yeah. I was 20 years old. 20 years old. I was 20 years old. Yeah.
Was that pre-pec tear? Was that the photo that you shared? Where was the pre-pec tear thing that you shared?
Oh, that was one back in 2000. I've only ever competed twice without a tear. I've done 30 shows, so 28 shows with a tear. So we're doing okay. But anyway, back to the point at hand. Do us a favour, Tom. Give us an introduction about who you are, what got you into it, and what led to this point in your coaching career and plans going forward, etc.
So I've been in bodybuilding. I've been in bodybuilding since I was about 14. I've been training as a bodybuilder 14, 15 years old. I'm 28 now. Don't look about 40, but trend gives you a hard life, I think. I was competitive for a bit. I was never a very good competitor. I did the Muscle Talk as a junior and I won that. I've won, what else have I won? I won another show in Wales at one point as well, some wee little one. But I've either won or placed dead last. So that's my competitive career is not somewhere in the mix. It's you're either better than all these lot who are not amazing or you're fucked. It's funny, but I've never really, I've not got amazing. I know that about myself. I don't have, the right symmetry lines, whatever. And that's fine. That's cool. I know that. But my passion for bodybuilding and my sort of enjoyment and sort of place in the sport, I love helping people get ready for shows. I love coaching. I love looking after people. I know I'm never going to be a pro or going to be anything competitive. For me to be competitive, I'd probably need to be 265, 270 on stage, fucking dives to oblivion. And I can't do that. My body won't do it. I'd die before I got there. So that's that. So I was no, well, we'll leave competing. But no, I train people. I started helping one of my buddies compete He wanted to do a show. He had 6 weeks to get ready for it. I was like, fuck, all right, okay, well, let's just give it the beans here. Prepped him for that one. It was only a pee-wee little show. He did the juniors and he won that, and then he did the under-80s and he won that. And then I got a couple of other people sort of asking me like, "Oh, do you want to give me a hand for this one that I'm doing?" And then it just sort of slowly started working from there. And then I was prepping a lot of the younger guys in my gym. And then it went from that point, and then I had, do you know Brandon Harding? So Brandon's sort of Instagram famous, sort of, sponsored by Alphalete, sponsored by, all these sorts of companies and whatever, and, just sort of a quite a popular figure for younger guys in the UK. And he came to me before he was this big following. He'd still picked up a fair few. He came to me because I trained at the same gym as him, and he said, "Oh, you want to prep me for the show?" And we did a couple of shows. We did like the Birmingham, the PCO Birmingham, then the London. Then the following year we did Body Power, and he won that. And then in that time I picked up, loads of people, because obviously people had seen that I was coaching him, and it just promoted me really, really well, which was cool. And that definitely like spurted like things along. So I got like 20, 30 clients, whatever. So I was able to leave my job in security, and I was able to go and do that. And then it just sort of started working up. Then I prepped a few people, like the third or fourth guy that I ever prepped won an overall at like a fitnessy fed thing, and that was cool. That got a few more. But yeah, basically when I sort of proved my point that I wasn't just like some random fucker, like saying, "Oh, I prep people," this younger guy, then people started like taking me a bit more seriously. They were like, "Oh, actually, you know what?" And then it sort of just worked its way up from there. But yeah, like this year was kind of good because they got two IFBB Pro cards this year, which was cool. But that was last year. But then this year, like 2022, I got like 10, 11 people going for it with like very, very legitimate shots at it. So, it should be a good year. I'm looking forward to it. But it's been weird working like when we just spoke about like years ago, there was only like a handful of people who like prep people, wasn't there really?
Yeah.
And nowadays, obviously, it's like super saturated market. I think when I came into it, I said, "Well, I'm gonna prep people," and people were like, "Well, you're a shit bodybuilder. You've not done anything." Like, and then I was like, "No, I'm gonna do it," and I got a lot of stick for it. But then now, what's kind of funny, some of those guys that like used to give me stick and be like, "Oh, you're a shit bodybuilder, you're a shit coach, you're a nice guy, but you're shit at this." Like they're asking me now, like, "Tom, can you prep me for the show?" And that's no word of a lie. I'll tell you afterwards who it was, but it is funny to see that like full circle.
Give us the wrong advisors. I'll come and prep you.
That's fine. Get them shredded. Then the day before, eat a loaf of bread and a gram of salt with every single slice before stage.
I mean, in all fairness, I think there's no better way than to establish yourself as a coach through success. I mean,
no one will listen to you if you just say you're doing something. You have to actually prove the point.
I don't know, man. There's some coaches out there who have just painted this picture of being an amazingly successful coach prior to even being one, and that business model has worked well for a few of them.
Yeah, you are right. But they get found out sooner rather than later, don't they, as well? So.
Is there anyone we should be looking out for, Tom?
What do you mean?
You got 10 guys up for the pro guards or 10 guys and girls.
No, not all guys. Yeah, mate. I've got
guys and girls.
So the women's physique pro card this year for IFBB, I've got 2 girls going for that who are both shit hot, like ridiculously good. Got Ross, got Johnny going for their card again this time round. So Johnny is a super heavyweight this time, which is fucking ridiculous. Like he started the last prep 247. Finished it 222. This time he's starting. He sent me a message today. He sent me his check-in today. 277 starting point, and he's probably going to be more like 285 before he comes back down. And he's really like quite lean still. I'm like, oh, okay, fucking hell, this is a bit good.
I saw him. He absolutely pounded it on.
Yeah, he's fucking massive.
He came on the podcast a few months ago.
Yeah,
and, it was evident that the genetics. Strong there.
His genetics are awesome, but he's been on over 1,000 grams of carbs every day since the show. Like it's just like ripping up these 300 kilo deadlifts, eating that much food. Like his gear's not even high. Like he's on like 200 tests, 200 primo, 100 MPP or something like that. Like it's like nothing, and he's just fucking. Yeah, that's when the thing is as well, because he's not like burnt out, when he does eventually get the card, he'll actually have a bit of a lifespan as a pro as well, rather than like burning out and going, yeah, never mind, I did it.
Yeah. Well, he's not that old, is he? He's got time.
No.
Well, it's the progression, if you can continue that progression, it's the only way to find out whether that happens is to try, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do see some people get given some of those years for free, and then it catches them. But if he can make, obviously it's depreciating, isn't it? As the longer you go, but that sort of trajectory, even depreciating, it's going to be good, man. I look forward to seeing it.
Got Ross as well. He's a heavyweight this year, so that'll be cool. Just like halfway up heavy. He's not like maxed out heavyweight, but he's still good. And then I've got a couple of others sort of plonked around, but yeah, it should be a good year. Looking forward to it. A few men's physique guys, really good figure girl, and then a couple of bikini girls towards the back end of the year. So yeah, no, I'm a bit more of a Swiss Army knife than just like one sort of one class. Like I don't really do,
Yeah. We had Sarah last year. Was it actually last year?
Yeah, women's physique. Yeah,
because since Corona, I don't know what fucking happened over the last. If it's in a 3-year period, it's all just last year.
Yeah, it's all just during that time.
It's all just the same. I mean, she's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, so she's blown up loads since we've come out of that now. So she stepped on stage at, I want to say, oh God, where was she? 57 kg, maybe 56 kg. She's now over 80.
She's
fucking huge. Like she's filled out loads. Yeah. So, but when she doesn't look like, it's like deceiving, like in clothes. Like when she takes her kit off and goes through poses, you're like, all right, bloody hell, wasn't expecting that. But
what's good, she's a cover up as well. You see her training. She's in a hoodie. She's not.
Oh, there's no sleeveless sort of showing off my arms jacket.
No. The reveal.
Yeah, that'll be good. She's going for her pro debut in because the Olympia's December, so November. I think we're doing it. Yeah, maybe around that sort of time.
Have a word. See if we can get her on next time.
Absolutely,
I've already set it up. Don't worry. Because actually, we were going to do this one, and then she didn't reply fast enough. So I think next week we'll have her on. So we'll grill her all about it.
No, yeah, she's lovely, man. She's really nice. She's going to be doing her pro debut, so that's going to be cool. So we've picked 2 shows that we're going to do. They're a week apart. So she's going to do one, then she's going to get a flight from that place to the next place, and then she's going to be competing at our next one there. So she's going to be
dangerous straight off the bat.
I think so as well, and I think with the pros, unfortunately, it is true. You do need to pay your dues. But she also can't really be ignored straight from the get-go. It's one of those shapes, one of those physiques that you're just sort of drawn to. And one of the ladies who won the New York Pro, I've started a year back or 2 years back or something. I've sort of stuck photos of them next to each other, and I'm just like, yeah, fucking Sarah's actually better, like pretty much in most shots. So it will be interesting. It will be
one to watch. I mean, I was going to ask some questions of my own, but quite a lot of them came up on the feed that I was interested in, and also I was specifically interested because you made a post, and this is something that's coming up, and about female ped use, and I'm so glad that people are actually talking about it now, and the dangers of dose-dependent madness. And the big point, the take-home was like, Anavar is not safe.
Yeah. Whereas you'll have so many coaches. Like I had a girl today come to me. She goes, I'm 18 weeks out from my show, and my coach has recommended that I start Anavar. And I'm like, how about we wait till 8 weeks out and then implement it, and then slowly do that with your dosage? Because there's no actual point doing that. You're trying to preserve tissue at the back end of a prep to maintain a look and a cosmetic appeal towards your physique. Your muscle is not going to fade away in those 10 weeks beforehand. You don't need to chuck it in. You're not going to grow into the show by using that. So all you're going to do is give yourself more risk of virilization. But yeah, no, like you said, that dose-dependent thing is what I was trying to really get across. That people are like, are just going, oh, well, no, I can take as much Anavar as I want, and you won't get side effects. And I'm like,
it's safe.
How about no?
But it's good because we had Callum on as well, and it was something that's been touched on. And I think it's one of the most important things is it's becoming so popular. These things are readily available. Like it's not an inner circle thing. No. And people who don't know anything about it are doing the stupid shit and fucking people up. Yeah. the males, they take, we take a hit. You don't get something for nothing. That's not life.
Yeah.
But the females are doing irreversible things.
Well, this is the thing, like we can
it's
take
okay.
absolutely anything out there. We can take anything, any steroid at any dosage, and we will still always look like blokes. We will still look like a bloke when we're done with it,
Yeah.
If you take 2 grams of test, if you take a gram of tren, if you take stupid things like that, you know what I mean? You're going to go and facial hair, you're going to get all the side effects, you're going to grow, you're probably going to lose a bunch of your hair, but you'll still look like a bloke. Whereas if a woman does slightly more than she really can get away with, she's going to cause herself, a jawline, hair growth, irreversible hair growth, stuff downstairs, like she's, like menstrual cycle. It's all going to go to shit.
Can we clarify what stuff downstairs means?
Ask Dan later. You're not old enough yet.
One of as we're here, and I kind of had to skip the bump. One of the great things that I thought that you brought was you used a male puberty example as a comparison. So just for who haven't seen it, maybe just give us a snippet of that. Females...
absolutely. So this is from Dr. Scott. So Dr. Scott Stevenson.
Yeah, we had him on as well. Yeah,
we had him on. Honestly, in flat out, he doesn't do it anymore. He doesn't coach any people anymore. I've offered him like $1,000 a month, but he wouldn't take it. Like to coach me for like a show. He doesn't coach people anymore. He won't do it unless you're like a pro and live in his area. But this was from him. Flat out, in my opinion, he's probably the best coach in the world, I would say. Like not got the accolades that some have got, but his knowledge is fucking just another level. So what he said wasn't what I say, and what I explain to people is, if you think about puberty, so like when a male goes through puberty, goes from a boy to being a man, 3, 4, maybe 4.5, 5 year period, this whole process occurs. If you and that's because they're being exposed to androgens, so your body produces like 7, 8, 9, 10 milligrams of testosterone per day, for that long duration, and that's what kicks it in, right? As a woman, if you take any androgen, anything, you are creating similar type changes to your physiology and switching on genes that activate, obviously, muscle growth, repair, recovery, whatever, but you are also masculinizing in some way through that virilization sort of pathway, and so just through androgen receptors in general, but you are literally putting in compounds that have that effect on the body. Now, if you were to take that, say, half of a year, right, and then never take it ever again, you probably cause some damage, right, but then over that period of time, at least it's not what it could have been something crazy, right? But if you continuously, repeatedly do these long cycles, say you're on for a quarter of a year, every year for 10 years, right? That's a massive amount of time being on. It's an absolutely huge amount of time. And you're almost giving yourself a male version of puberty, not to the extreme because it's not testosterone and it's not endogenous and it's not, whatever. It's not how you're physically designed to respond to testosterone, but you are still causing those sorts of effects. And that's when you look at, like I've been in bodybuilding a while and I've seen female cycles. I've had a client come to me from, I won't name the coach, but from a sort of a known coach, or at least he was a bit more known. She was on 900 milligrams of nandrolone a week.
You've got to name and shame that.
No, I can't remember. Actually, do you know what? I can't remember who it was, because she worked with a couple of
lies.
No, she had worked with a couple of coaches who had done some crazy shit with her. And then she had gone and used one of these guys who had given her that. So I won't say specifically who it was, but I think there was Anadrol in there as well, off the top of my head. Yeah.
Wow. If I was going to design something,
yeah.
I mean, how the fuck? I mean, I would feel horrendous on that myself.
Well, yeah. Well, this is the thing. She's lovely. She's really, really nice, like girl. But she's also she's very driven for what she wants to do with bodybuilding, and obviously those effects are she got side effects from that, but then now doesn't seem to get side effects in certain, from certain things. So she has to be careful what she takes as well, though, because she does get some serious effects from
but that's the danger, isn't it? You get someone and you're driven and you rely on someone to look after you, and your drive is, I will do whatever it takes. And obviously you have to have that relationship with your coach, but if you're having a relationship with a coach who doesn't have your health and these things, or even maybe doesn't have the knowledge, that drive to being the best you can, I mean, once you get into pro bodybuilding, you're giving up on that, aren't you?
Yeah, you've sort of left humanity behind, really, at that point.
Yeah.
You really have. like, for example, so we were talking about dosages then and stuff, and I explained on the video like about how nandrolone would be a good choice, even testosterone and stuff like that. Like, but when I explain that, like people, because when I say, so if I say like, if you have a girl using 2 milligrams of testosterone a week, right, and then people, well, I got a question, yeah, but how do you get 2 milligram out of the syringe? And I'm like, you speak to a steroid lab, you tell them, can you make this for us? And then they go, yeah, sure. That's it. It's that fucking simple.
Well, you're gonna pay me more money for oil? Yes,
I can make that. So I can charge 15 quid a bottle, and it's only got 20 milligrams of test in the bottle. Like, yeah, we'll do that.
Sign me up. They're in Sainsbury's buying grapeseed oil like that day.
Oh,
all right, should we see what other? Because otherwise, I'm going to just do what I do, which is just ask my questions.
Yeah, I've got a couple on a personal level for Tom. I'll say.
Go ahead. Yeah, it'd be cool to hear what you guys.
Yeah. Cool. Let me just chuck a couple of these in because we tend to go off on tangents and then miss the
Tangents are our thing.
Oh, nice.
So, logically built, long-term fan and supporter of the channel. I've heard that site injection grows disproportionately.
This one's amazing. I read this one. This one's amazing. Go on, let's see, because I've got a funny one about this.
So I've heard that site injection grows disproportionately larger than surrounding muscles. If that's true, would injecting your ball bag stop it from atrophying? Solid question.
On a technical level, no. You're just going to put a bunch of oil around there, and then it's going to look a bit fucking weird. However, in strange circumstances, I had a client when I first got into things. This is probably one of the first 30 or 40 clients that I took on. He was a chap from, I want to say Mexico, who came to me and he asked me, he was like, oh, like, what should I do, steroid-wise? And I explained to him, look, if you're going to take anything, testosterone would probably be a good place to start. Okay, cool, I'll go get some testosterone. I went to go get it, and he comes back, it's half testosterone, half estrogen, weird sort of combo thingy. I'm like, how about we don't take that? Let's try doing just normal testosterone. Comes back like a week later, oh, I picked up some Sustanon, whatever. And then I said, all right, okay, cool. Do you know how you're doing with the injection? He goes, oh yeah, inject it in my, my ass, don't I? And I'm like, yeah, cool. And he basically, all of that. You can see where this is going, Dan?
Oh.
Yeah. He took the syringe and he basically, so this is how I first found out that something was very fucking wrong. Tom, I don't know how you guys do this. I don't think I'm able to do this anymore. This is proper weird. He was putting it up his bum and then injecting the oil up the head like that, with the needle on. That's not a lie. That's how I don't have the messages anymore, but I think I can remember his name. But yeah. Yeah, he was doing
but then obviously going back, did he have a really big anus?
I don't know because it wasn't on his checking photos, so I'll try and find him on WhatsApp and see if I can message him. And be like, listen,
request the images. We need an introductory image for this episode, and it could be this Mexican guy's asshole, and that's what I think we need. Oh God!
But yeah, no, he was, and then I explained to him, I was like, "Well, where are you?" And he goes, "I'm like in my ass." I'm like, "How about we don't? Yeah, let's not do that at all, please." Yeah. Oh my God! I was like shocked. So I was like laughing, but also like, "Oh God, this guy's actually like bleeding." Oh my God! So I said to him, I was like, "Right, stop. Okay, this is," and then I sent him like a website that had a diagram of it all, and I explained. And then from then on, I always check, like, you do know what you're doing with these, don't you? Like, so yeah.
Okay.
So to answer the ballback question, no, that won't work. But to answer to go off on a tangent, that's what some people think is right.
I mean, the fact that he was prepared to do that.
Well, legend. This guy, all or nothing. I like it. I like this guy. I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah.
No. No. I'm sitting awkwardly still.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about like how bad it would hurt.
Anyway, right. Adam Edwards, another one who's supported us a lot. What is your approach?
Oh, Big Adam, he's a heavyweight, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always been great on the channel. He's a great bodybuilder as well. What is your approach to off-season in terms of diet, drug use, and trying to push up to new levels of muscle mass?
To break it down, that's quite like a complex thing, but like obviously very slow and gradual increases to things. When you're adding food, obviously slowly and steadily increase PEDs alongside it to the point that you don't want to have the catalyst of new food there if you don't have the catalyst of the anabolics alongside and the training progression, because you're just going to be slopping on that fat. So that's why you start super, super, super low and just gradually work things up to a point where it's still relatively safe, but just building that up. And then once you've sort of maxed out what you can max out, or you need to be bigger in a shorter space of time, essentially, because you have a goal that you're going for, smaller in usage of like insulin and growth hormone, very careful amounts of it, can mean that you don't need to push those dosages to the moon. So if you're taking 20 units of Lantus insulin and 2 IUs of growth twice a day, you probably don't need to take 2 grams of steroids. You can probably get away with just doing a gram of like a milder sort of compounds with lower dosage test and supremabolin, because pushing it to that extreme with the actual anabolics as such, without the insulin and growth hormone in play, it's more detrimental to your health. Just a good broad covering of everything that you can get away with in small amounts would be far more beneficial than just going test 2 grams, let's do it, because you're just going to have a bad day. Yeah.
Well, and also the cycles that have been not popular, but the kind of the more is more, and some people put their health on the line to experiment with these things for us, like Jordan Peters, to document the effects just kind of out of interest. I think he was doing they were doing 6 grams of MP.
Yeah, I did something similar. I did something really stupid.
That was going to be one of my questions for you, Tom.
Yeah, just to see, like, I mean, as I'm still a teacher, obviously I don't use drugs, but if I did, I have a cap to where it just feels toxic, and I feel like absolute wank. So I can't train. So there's no point.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us your stupid story, Tom?
How high I went with things.
Yeah. I remember these because these were back in the day when Tom wasn't as well known as a coach, and people were.
No, but I did stupid shit because I wanted to push it to a point where I wanted to see what genuinely happened when you went to that point. So the off-season cycle. So I had been on for 3 months, 4 months, maybe even a bit longer actually, on just like a regular sort of, standard sort of test, nandrolone, primobolan, sort of cycle. And it had been around about 2,000 a week in total, maybe less, maybe more like 1,500. And then I decided, because I obviously had been doing all right with coaching, so I had a bit more spare money, and I was like, I just want to see what happens. Like, how far can I actually go with it before it starts actually creating negative effects? Because so far it had been all right. So here we go. This is bad. This is where everyone's listening on their morning cardio, right? And they're like, oh, I'll listen to the Dash Break podcast. And then they get to this point, and then they go, what? So I did 3 grams of test. I did 2 grams of Masteron. I did a gram of NPP. It might have been more actually. And then I did 100 mg of D-bol a day and 100 mg of Anadrol a day. And then I did 10 IUs of growth hormone a day and 100 to 150 IUs of insulin a day with those. And I did that, but my plan was let's do it 6 weeks. I lasted less than 2. maybe two. And then I was like, yeah, no, I cannot do this. I feel like I'm going to fucking die.
Yeah.
But I changed daily. Like, my physique looked weirdly leaner every single day, but my body weight was staying the same. But then I felt like shit after about 10, 11, 12 days of it. And I was like, no, we're done. I'm done. Like, fuck this. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's admirable as a coach. Let's see where this is. Let's see what point definitely shouldn't we do this.
Yeah.
A lot less than that.
Yeah, that was just me being a fucking idiot. But I did it to and that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, Tom drug pushing and all of this. I'm like, no, I pushed it on myself. Like, I'm an idiot like myself. I did stupid shit. Like, none of my clients used anything insane. I'm not a fucking moron. You cannot be that way in this day and age with a client's health. It's just fucking stupid if people do.
Well, and generally there's not, when we had Dr. Dean on, there is a toxic therapeutic balance, and everyone's different as well.
Yeah, man.
I know for a fact that if I put 6 grams of MPP in myself, I would actually not get out of bed. Yeah. Maybe ever, actually. I'd probably just die.
Yeah.
What other questions have we got, Jono?
Right, okay, let's get stuck on one of these. One of them we've just kind of covered. So TJ, another one who supports us quite a lot. She asked about the female ped usage, which obviously you kind of
female ped usage in general. Yeah, that's probably one of my sort of good talking points at the moment, and people do listen, which is nice. I've had a lot of messages from girls going, so I shouldn't be using Anavar for 20 weeks into Water Prep, and I'm like, no. So
I mean it's, I think that the newest thing that's come to light for females as a kind of, and it's another thing that's applied to males more kind of, I guess it was kind of made famous by the extreme version of like Victor Black's like attacking all like pathways and stuff. And I won't go into it again because we did it with Callum, but it has application in males, obviously, but for females even more important. And if you can use like non-anabolic androgenic steroids to start off with, that might be amazing. But chances are you're probably not willing to do that from the get-go. So like I know what the best possible scenario would be, and that would be like low dosage growth hormone, very, very low dosage insulin, very, very low dosage L-carnitine, metformin, things like that, because you're not hitting that androgenic anabolic sort of steroid pathway for virilization, because you can't create virilization through those compounds, right? It's just impossible, but you can create muscle growth through them. However, I know that probably isn't going to happen for a lot of girls. They're going to go, you want me to take 4 fucking things off the get-go? Whereas they're going to go, can't I just take an Anavar pill? But now I'm like coming up with a suitable in the middle alternative. That's my goal, is like, okay, ladies, like you don't have to just do that or this. There is somewhere down the middle where you can be a bit more sensible, right? So And what's your view on female TRT? And do you run from blood work? And where are you trying to pitch it in terms of super physiological?
Usually you try and look between 2 to 4 milligrams a week is roughly where I would be looking to just sit in that physiological range. Someone the other day said to me like, 10, and I'm like, that's a bit too much, I think. But like 2 milligrams per week for a younger lady is usually okay. And if they've had amenorrhea, they basically accepted their lot with bodybuilding, that they're probably not going to get a monthly cycle back. They're very committed to it, whatever, and they're in that sort of that hole of this is my life now, this is what I want to do. Whereas girls who want to be able to get out of it in the future, we don't even go near it. That's just not a thing. No point. But like older ladies, like at 35, 40, 45, that it's so good for them. Like it just brings them back to life in terms of like their just general well-being. 2 milligrams of that per week sets them back into a range that they had when they were a teenage girl, and they just feel like £1 million. You know?
Yeah. So just could I get asked about this as well? The aim is still to just be on the high end.
High end of what you would naturally be putting into it. And also you have some conversion over to estrogen. So it aromatizes to a degree. So you're going to be putting estro back in a body, especially with a postmenopausal female where they're just going to have no hormones, where you might even want to go more towards the 4 milligram range so that you do essentially have some conversion over, and then you've got that aromatization alongside it. So it just works really, really well.
Yeah, which they've been doing in medical terms for years.
Oh, for fucking ages. It's just bodybuilders have sort of clocked onto it now. Oh, can we do that instead? Yeah, so that's good, but like I said to me as well before, it's not all of my clients that just go straight on that. If they plan on competing in and out for a couple of years, and then when they've hit their goal, they're sort of done with it, or they give that vibe that that's what they want to do. We don't go down that route. But there's some girls that are like, I want to win my pro card, and then I am going to the fucking Olympia, and it's like, all right, well, this is how we go there then, in a safer, controlled manner rather than just on and off Anavar. Year in, year out. So
do they grow less mini penises as well?
Yes, which is always beneficial for them and their partners.
Yeah, or it depends.
Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends. Some blokes like it, but
I don't. Okay, Ollie Cult, thoughts on women's physique being excluded from the Arnold Classic in 2022? I believe Sarah can make it to the Olympia. When do you believe an athlete can go all the way? Does it disrupt your plans or change your way of thinking, even on a micro level?
Oh, that's a good question. I like that. That's cool. So in regards to, so first bit, why is it not there? Because Arnold's a misogynist. Second bit, he plain and simple is, he said before, I don't like women with muscle. He said those words, like he doesn't like, don't like women bodybuilding, I don't like women doing whatever.
He doesn't like open class bodybuilding. He likes classic bodybuilding.
That's nice, that's cool. Fuck off.
Yeah, but welcome to 2022. And I mean, to be honest, obviously he's a hero of a lot of people. He's said a lot of douche stuff. I'll let him off for the legend that he was, but also basically like putting females in a compartment where the only thing they're there for is to be sexualized is ridiculous.
Yeah, not a fan of that at all. But I have sort of almost heard down the grapevine that within the next 2 years it will be in the UK one. So that will be lovely. So that's cool. So then Sarah would be doing it. And any other women's physique pros that I've got, I would hopefully be able to get them into that if they get the invite to go.
So female bodybuilding looked like it was about to get a start up again, and now we've taken 2 steps back. There's
no female bodybuilding at shows at the moment.
Yeah,
there's just none, and it's sad to see but it's understandable because there isn't a ton of them. Right, there isn't a ton in the UK, but it's also sad to see in a way because it would have been lovely for that to get going. Because I think with the new day and age and the new appreciation and methodologies with PEDs, you can get females there without turning them into fucking girls who want to look like that. But then, like, actually, I'd love to look like that, but I am not having a fucking jaw that's like an anvil. But, you know, I don't want to go down that road. Then,
well, I think they kind of tried it, didn't they, to tone it down. And then there was that Russian bird who weighs about fucking 280 or something, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's nuts."
That's cool to look at, but I don't want that. It's one of those. You can't sort of fight the powers that are there, but going forward from that point, what the other stuff you said as well, like when I see a client with ridiculous potential, does that change things? No, not as such. We just have much higher expectations. Maybe on their prep, they get a bit more sort of, we need to be in contact with them a bit more frequency because it's down to a micro level of management, especially if it was like someone who's very much in contention for a pro card. You know, we maybe monitor things a little bit more and a little bit more in contact with them frequently, but probably no more than I would be when someone's going for a PCA British, right?
No wonder Dan never talks to me.
Mate, you're the side sending you voice notes all the time, and you just give me like a thumbs up, which I personally read as fuck off. Like if I get a thumbs up in a text message, that's like that. No more talking now. Sorry, Alice, you can't just come and dump a dog in here. You have to deal with the dogs. You can't. Try harder. Sorry.
Let's try harder.
That's funny. I think it's just the same. I don't put extra effort in or whatever, but it's more a case of like, if someone was going abroad to go and compete in like a show over there, you probably need to be in more tune with like how they are once they've got off the plane and things. So there's little variables that you might need to consider a bit more, but no, don't really micromanage them more. Just everyone, when someone's done a prep with me, they get fucking pissed off with me by the end of it because it's like, well, why am I talking into them so much? But
you have to have a coach deload.
Yeah.
Let's
just take a week where we don't talk. You've won your show, you got your pro card. I'll talk to you in a week's time. We'll celebrate then.
Yeah, eat cake. Come back in a week.
Come back in a week. Please don't get too fat.
Right. So Adam Ledner, one of our
I can already feel it.
He's one of our more entertaining comments most often than not. So and he didn't disappoint. You're going to prison. Not you personally. This is
it's not a threat.
This is a scenario that we're playing out.
Right, okay.
So you can plug 3 drugs up your ass.
Okay.
1 injectable, 1 oral, and 1 serum. Which ones are you picking and why?
So here's the thing. Like, it depends how long I'm in there. I'm assuming I'm not going to be in there for absolutely time, right? So if I'm taking an injectable in with me, I'm going to take testosterone decanate. Like I'm going to take, because then if I can, you know, that's going to hang around. I could do 1 shot every like 2 weeks, and I'm probably going to be somewhat okay, right? I think one oral. Was it 1 oral as well?
Yeah.
1 oral and 1 serum.
Okay, so one oral would be like Superdrol, like when you know you've got like a fight with some fucking madhead, you know, I'll just pop this. Hopefully, I'll rip his head off. Like
that's Halo, you want, isn't it?
Oh, Halo. Sorry, yeah, no, Halo or Superdrol, either.
Under the tongue.
Yeah. And then the sublingual ones, and then the SERM. Oh, just like tamoxifen or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Does he mean SERM or SARM?
No, he's put SERM.
Oh, right, okay.
Who cares about SARM?
It's child's play.
Yeah, we'll
I still do get lots of questions of people asking about serms.
What's your opinion on SARMs? And I'm like,
Of SARMs, yeah.
Yeah,
Fine.
just take the ball.
Go and ask someone who's massive if they take them, and everyone says no, and then move on.
Yeah, but none of them listen to the protocols that they could safely take anyway. They always take too much, and they end up just doing the same as what they would if they'd just gone on
if
cycle.
they'd just taken some fucking...
Yeah.
Well, I think ostarine can be used for women at like 5 milligrams a day, 10 milligrams a day, sort of thing. But I think that's about it.
Yeah, I've heard that. I have tried that on a female client, and it was
Hypothetically,
yeah. I have, and it was arguable, the results.
pretty standard. What I've noticed is that the strength gains just go through the fucking roof on it, but you're not really going to see much noticeable because it's like here today, gone tomorrow strength.
Yeah, I thought the tail off. It was like the body adapted very quickly to just fucking it off.
Yeah.
Thought the shelf life, but I mean, I don't know.
One of those.
I haven't enough experience really. Tom probably more.
A little bit.
Okay, so JZ Bodybuilding, does Tom enjoy working with males or females more? If any preference? Less up. Less up, pop.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah, Sam. I don't know what that last bit means, but I know what he's on about. In terms of women who are like women's physique, women's figure, women's bodybuilding, they don't complain. Like there is no like, oh, I'm so hungry, oh, I can't do this. Oh my god, I felt like eating a ton of biscuits. There is none of that. It's like when they're serious, they're fucking serious. Like you know, like Dan, you know Rach, don't you?
Yeah.
Like Rach is like, obviously she's not in bodybuilding now, she's done with it. But like when she was serious about it, her timer goes off on her thing, and she's like eating the meal whilst talking to you like this. Like it's like that. Like if I tell them to do something, I know it's done. So I would say like women, like the bigger girls, those are more enjoyable for me to sort of prep. But like big super heavyweight guys are kind of fun as well. So it's a bit of a weird one, but I'd still probably go for the females just because they complain less. Like, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
it's a solid shout.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's probably it, really. Like, I don't know. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you find that I think probably the most effort goes into your entry or middle level bodybuilder who's the big fish in the small pond. Who needs a couple of adjustments psychologically for what actually needs to happen from their end, really. And so I find that's probably the biggest struggle is the level up, you know, or the middle level competitor. Like here's the next level, and like the transition for anyone from comfort zone. Whereas I feel the training element for the females is like females are hard as fuck in the gym. If they're actually like wanting to like do it, I find PTing females incredibly satisfying at most levels. Actually, I think that their pain threshold, like for girls that really want to train, they really fucking do. And I do sometimes leave. If I can, people come and visit and do a one-off session or whatever. And most of the females that are serious, I'm like, yeah, that was good. And I get something out of it. Yeah. And not always, but I think more often the blokes leave and I'm like, well, you need to work on that. Yeah. Work on that bit. But yeah, I probably have more female clients than males and stuff like that. And I think you're right as well, actually, like the ones that are into it, there's just yes, that's happening.
Okay, I'll just do it. Is that what needs to be done? Do I really need to go that low? Unfortunately, yeah, cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they both have the pros. Obviously, doing like competitive super heavies is obviously like a love. I have a few wellness girls, and the thing that I like about that is,
I've seen.
They do the bodybuilding lower half, so I'm still super impressed with that. Do you know what I mean? And the grit involved in building like bodybuilder level legs ultimately. So yeah, it's mixed, isn't it? There's some for the others, but I think that actually, contrary to most people's, men need the most cuddling. If I was going to give a sweeping statement to it,
I think there's one guy that I'm thinking in my head right now. out of all of my clients, who's the most, thanks Tom, that'll be done. And it's like a lot of guys are just like, they get on with it. Like I've got a really, really good lot at the moment. Like no one out there is like a pain in the ass. But this one guy, it's Ben Gardner. I don't know if you know him. He was a heavyweight. Or might have been a light heavy. Was a heavyweight, but he went into his prep. He did the Arnold's on like bunk gear, and he didn't know. Like I was like, oh fuck, and then I told him, I was like, can you just drop that and try this lab instead? Got him to go over to this different lab, and he's just gone like fucking blown up. I was like, absolutely blown up. Like we checked his bloods, and on like 150 tests a week, it was like 110 nmol, and I was like, all right, oh, you don't need that much, which was pretty cool. But yeah, no, he just blew the fuck up on that. But he is very, very spit and sawdust. Like he's eating 1,000 grams of carbs a day pretty much most days, and he's like, no, I could do more if you need me to. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, well, it takes a bit of time, but like I could do it. And I'm like, fuck me, bro. Like, yeah, he's going to be very good in the future. That attitude is not like that attitude spread over like 3, 4, 5 years. That reflects in a physique, definitely.
Shut up, dog. You've been naughty. Be quiet. Yeah, I think it's a good question. It's a good question. Obviously, the model for the client is what's important, and a client that doesn't waste time by having to go back and try and do the same week again is the most enjoyable, because we're not thrown curveball variables or hidden variables that we never knew about, and then we're trying to go, how the fuck did that happen? And actually, when you delve a little bit deeper, it's because they went on the piss for 3 days. Those sorts of things are the hardest. That actually, one of those things brings a question that I was asked on my group, and I was going to do a video, but I'll put it to you: is alcohol, because I do a lot of lifestyle people, and they want a sort of thing like that, and people do like a drink and stuff like that. About the impact of like alcohol on, and how do you mix that? Is it possible to mix the two?
Like if you're having a drink, like properly going out and getting absolutely bladdered, and you do it like once every like 2 or 3 months, it's probably not going to make the most massive difference in the world. But I think if it's every single week or every 2 weeks, you're fucked. It's absolutely fucked. Like, it's just, you have to burn through that before you start digging into any of the calories that you've actually got present.
I mean, the way that I the kind of way that I say it out is, if you're getting shit-faced every weekend, did you really go and bust your ass all week to basically delete it?
Yeah.
Like, because your body's building muscle is the last thing that your body wants to do. Because it's a stupid thing to have lots of muscle. Your body knows that it's a shit idea. So you've switched it. Your body definitely needs to clear the alcohol. It's poison. So it goes further down the list.
It uses it as a fuel source before it starts digging into anything else. And if you think that as a fuel source is going to do anything in terms of recovery and recuperation for damaged muscle fibers because you've been hack squatting on a Cybex 6 plates aside, but then you think that you're fucking, that your Stellar will help you recover from it, it doesn't really go the same way that you're planning. Not really a lot of my guys and girls who are super like serious about it drink if you usually, because I only train competitors, I don't have a single lifestyle client. It's like none. It's like 85 competitors and that's it. But like, I don't deal with any lifestyle anymore at all. When I had that, I would just basically, because they would want the help and they'd be willing to pay for it. But if they're going out and going and piss, I'm like, all right, well, just don't take the mick with it, because I know that they're never putting that physique on a stage. Yeah. If you're putting your physique on a stage, the last thing you should be thinking about is like, oh, I fancy going out and doing this, because a lot of bodybuilders don't really have that as an attitude. But a lot of the ones that I work with don't really.
No.
What about Nathan D'Asher?
Yeah, but Nathan, he could like fucking take fake D-bol and turn up shredded and jacked. Like he could take some fucking sugar pills, tell him it's D-bol, and he'll still turn up like placebo, like 30 pounds heavier than everyone else. Yeah,
I mean the thing as well with alcohol is the dehydration element, isn't it? I suppose. But the way that I just say is like, did you really bust all your ass and then to just delete it? Like it doesn't make any sense to do that. I mean, apart from if you're a serious bodybuilder, when do you have time to go and drink anyway? That's what I don't get. Like, if you're doing this and you're eating the food and you're putting it in day and doing the training, like, where does that happen?
Yeah. Like if you see people going out to go watch like a football game or something, and they go out and get straight drinking beer at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, and then they carry on all the way through till 2 in the morning. As a bodybuilder who's super serious about it, when that's all going on, all you're thinking is, I could be at home eating my chicken and rice meals. Like I could be at home doing like I've missed 5 meals here, 4 meals here. That's all that goes. That's all that would go through my head. It's all that would go through. If you're super serious about this, that's all that would like flick in you. No, I just got to go home. Like,
wouldn't be able to enjoy it.
You wouldn't be able to enjoy it. I couldn't do that. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not serious about my bodybuilding at all anymore. Like I roughly, I train 3-4 times a week, and I try and eat enough protein and calories in a day. That's about it. But even then, I would still be like, no, I need to eat. I need to get my meals in. So.
Well, the way that if you're a competitor, like there's someone else on stage that isn't going to do that. And do you really? And I say to everyone, the way you win a show, really, because you win or lose, you don't know who's fucking turning up. Yeah. The way that you win a show, and I've won some, and I've lost some. But the way I win in my mind is looking back and going, there's nothing that I could have done to make that a better situation. So the rest is just a snippet of time, and all I need is additional time. And I couldn't, if I look back and I was like, having beers here and there, and saw that as a reason that I lost, I'd be gutted. Why put in 95%? Doesn't make sense to me.
No, same, yeah. And I would always look back and and say, if a client came to me and said, well, what do I need to do? And I'd just go to them and be like, well, did you do every single thing that you possibly could have done on that prep? Like, can you truly and honestly, in your own self, look back? Are you looking at every single, did you miss a shot? Did you miss a meal? Did you have a fucking extra few this and that, a Galaxy bar one night because you just thought, oh, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And then the next morning you actually did care. Like, what did you probably miss? And if they go, no, I genuinely didn't, then I just go, then you've got 24 hours to bitch and complain about your placing, and then we're back to work, because that's all that matters.
I think with competing as well, this is another mentality for people that are competing. For me, when someone says, "Oh, just have this," or "You choose to do it," it's a choice and stuff like that. And I believe competing is a choice and stuff, and it is. But as far as I'm concerned, as soon as I've made the decision to do a show, it's actually not a choice. And the importance of my adherence to my own goal that I put actually is probably the most serious non-choice that I could have, even though it's self-inflicted.
Well,
here's
a question for you guys. When people ask you, people ask you, how do you get motivated for something? When they do that, when they go, oh, how do you stay motivated? How do you this? What's your general response? Because mine is I don't stay motivated, I just do it.
Yeah.
Dan did a sketch on this about a year ago, talking about biscuits in zones. Give us the research on that.
I actually can't remember it, see, because I just come out with this shit. I don't actually remember saying it.
Basically, he talks about how people ask, if you ever see a biscuit, you just eat the biscuit. And he's like, well, no, because the biscuit's not in my zone. I'm here in my zone. There's no fucking biscuits. Fuck you, biscuits.
But it's true. It's like not an option. It doesn't even occur to me that there would be a biscuit in the world. It's just not. So I don't get tempted by these things that people seem to just, I don't know, they sit at home and these things just gravitate into their cupboards and they throw themselves at the, I don't get it. And even if there is a biscuit, it may as well be dog shit. It may as well actually be dog shit about how the likelihood of me eating that biscuit. It just, when someone says, how do you get motivated? Well, I put a goal on myself and I put something in am I going to mug myself off? What, because I don't feel like doing a training session? I'm going to mug the greater picture of me off because at that moment in time I've been reactive to something that doesn't matter. I really do take it seriously enough that goal that I put in, when I've made the choice to do it, there is no other choice. There is, even though I self-inflicted it, it now isn't a choice. Yeah. So when people are saying, oh, you chose to do this. Yeah, I did. But now I have, it's not a fucking choice as far as I'm concerned, because that's my own integrity. That's just.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's like that's an amateur who, even if they didn't have like top level genetics would still find a way to slowly get to the goal that they wanted to get to, because because if you lived and breathed like that year round and day in, day out, like for example Ben, like the guy I just mentioned, like his mentality is pretty much that. Like I said to him, I was like, are you still doing a free meal like once a week and whatever? And I think he was just like, oh, like maybe, like occasionally. That probably just means fucking no. Like he goes, when my missus twists my arm and begs me and pleads that we need to go out for a date at some point, he probably does. But like, do you know what I mean? It's one of those. He's yeah, and I think
so it's about the impact, isn't it? If I'm on prep, if I'm not on prep, then I have people that I'd like to see and spend time with. That usually runs around a time, and then I go, I'm on such high calories. Is going and eating like a burger like actually going to have a negative effect at this stage? Like no. So I weigh it up. I'd like to see this person, and I think that there is a time and place for that. If you're catering for it, is it going to have a negative impact to have a cheat meal once a week, depending on your body? No, it's not. And actually, the mental side of that for people who you should go out and you should go and experience things with other people and your family and all that sort of stuff. So then when you make the choice to do a prep, they don't already think you're a cunt.
Because exactly, and that's the thing as well. And one thing that I say to my guys and girls is like, going in towards a show and stuff like that, that you shouldn't even be worried about that. Your whole process and your whole focus and everything just becomes this: how many people are going to be doing the same shit that I'm doing? Like you can always think in your gym, I've got to outwork them. Well, every other person says I've got to outwork them. Like everyone. So how can you outwork people who are still trying to do it? Doesn't because that's the baseline. That's the given. That's the flat line. And if you don't have that already, you're not going to get where you want to get.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing, is that people is that mentality and stuff should be the given.
Yeah, it is. But this is an old school thing. Now, this is like I'm coming on your podcast asking you questions, but like, do you think that the old school bodybuilding mentality, even though a lot of the principles and a lot of the processes and a lot of the things that they did, we have now worked out to be a little bit wrong, we find ways to do them better? Do you still think that the old school mentality towards training and towards the aspect of bodybuilding in general and the focus towards shows was way better than it is now?
Well, I think that like with anything, and it's working with young people in school and stuff like that is the idea, the work for reward ratio seems to be off. Like the expectations of what you should actually be receiving seems skewed because of the way it's presented on social media and stuff like that. There wasn't any of that. There wasn't I became rich in 5 minutes. There wasn't the Kardashian cunts who, like, literally talentless morons who got famous from doing nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a highlights reel, and they expect that's how it is all the time. When we so like with competing and stuff, like look at the Beef magazine or whatever, when it was, and it'd be like, oh, this guy won the universe or something, this guy won the British, this guy won the whatever, and you look at all of this stuff and you see that would be the only sort of time that for a while before Facebook came along and everyone started, all the bodybuilders started like linking up a bit more. Like before that, it was just that magazine really, and who you knew in that area of like bodybuilder wise, and that was what I had. Like I trained at Strength Asylum back in Stoke when Facebook started becoming far more popular, and it was one of those things where you would just see bodybuilders in the gym, and I'm like, is he a fucking junior? And then they'd be like, yeah, he's 22, and I'm like, I don't look like that, and I'm 21, and I'm or 20 years old or whatever, and I'm like, I need to be better than that. Like I've got to beat someone like that. And then, and you start realizing the actual how the whole thing is then, because I
mean, in answer to your question, I still think this is just a middle bit. The people that are still doing really well, that are still really smashing it, as far as I'm concerned, they're cut from the same elk. Like, so I think it's only the middle bit that have this kind of grey area. The people that were doing it, they would have been doing it back then. They're doing it now. And this hardcore approach like was based on the information that we had at the time. And I don't think it's got anything to do with anything being any more hardcore, doing more drugs or anything like that. But in the training and the attack, the people that are at the top are still realistic about their expectations. They still know what it takes. So I don't think the top people actually are any different. I don't think there is an old school and new school.
I think it's people's reasons. So the people with the right reasons are always going to be like the old school guys because their reasons were genuine. The old school guys didn't have this big shiny sort of carrot to go towards. They were doing it because they really wanted to do it. And those guys that are doing well now, it's the same sentiment. I would say that they're the only ones who are you know, sort of trying to convince themselves otherwise, are the ones who have not got the genuine, sincere ambition to get to where they want to be. They just want to make it look nice and pretty.
Yeah, I think it's the thing that's been popular as a highlight now is people's whys, isn't it? Like the why. And everyone that we've had on the podcast that is like smashing it has a why bigger than I want to look like that. Pretty much everyone has some other thing that's deeper. I don't think I want to look a certain way enough to do what I do, but I don't know. But yeah, I really believe that this whole old school, new school thing isn't a thing. I think that the people that are doing well would have done well then. They are doing well now, and the disparity is just an argument. But things have evolved. You look at the pros now; things have just evolved.
I've just thought of a funny story actually. Did you train at Temple back when it was still?
Yeah.
So this is, but like I obviously I wasn't in bodybuilding at that time, and I never went over to it. You know, right before it sort of moved to wherever it is now. But before, so one of my late mentor, he passed away a couple of years ago. Dwayne, he I actually prep his son, which is really cool. But he said that some of the stuff there that Leroy used to fucking tell people and things was hilarious. Like it just like these days, it just couldn't happen. There was just like a mat when you walked in that had a bell on it, and if you were under 200 pounds, it used to ding, and they used to have to see if you were serious enough to go in the gym and be an actual, like, and that's like 90s though. That's like before I was born. So it's like before I was born. But like there was that, and then there was like if you were caught talking for too long in between your sets, or you weren't putting effort in, he used to come over to you and give you like one warning, like, stop fucking about, this is a bodybuilding gym, do you want to train here or not? And then if you carried on and you like you did it again, he'd just be like, get out, just fucking go, I don't want you here.
It's genuinely believable. We had him, thankfully, and convinced him to come on the podcast, and we had him on. And that does seem like it was something.
Yeah, I don't think he'd admit to it now, but like back then, yeah, they're like savage, like fucking. Yeah, because they talked about him. They talked about Leroy, and they said that like Martin and Dwayne, who are two chaps from Worcester, who used to go over to Brunton to go train there, they hadn't seen him in 6 weeks, and this is when he used to compete. It's just like this, like last show he ever did. Did he talk to you guys about this?
Yeah.
He talked about the show that he did, the last one he did.
Well,
I think his wife told him no more shows, like no more competitions. Like after this, it was something.
You don't
like
fuck around with Mandy. She's a serious woman.
Right, I don't know, but apparently he literally, Dwayne and Martin hadn't seen him for 6 weeks, and then they were like, "Oh, Dorian, where's Leroy? Where's he at?" And he says, "He's over there doing cardio." And they were like looking around like, "Where?" I'm like, "It's him on the bike." And they were like, what? His face was like so sunken. Like in 6 weeks, he had just taken himself down to like no fat left on his body at all. And he like showed him the bottom of his feet, and it was just like bone.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, stuff like that makes me like excited.
Yeah.
That like is like amazing. I mean, with Temple Gym, obviously, like Dorian didn't need Temple Gym to actually be available to anyone. It was his gym. Yeah. It was closed when he trained. So he'd go and train from 10 till 12, and then the gym would open at 12. Yeah. But if you didn't come, no one gave a shit. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't a business. Yeah. It wasn't a business. And for those of like-minded people that wanted to go and do it, I would have loved to be amongst that. Yeah. So, and I think there's still people that would have liked, would like that. Some people not so much. I don't know. That's the sort of thing. I'm the sort of guy who puts on striped trousers and like I've got the Dorian PhD top, and like it makes me feel like I'm in the 90s, and that's in my mind. That's like
all you need.
I feel cool and stuff like that. But I mean, it's one of those things when I talk to the students, like the music that people listen to now, I don't really like. So like trap music, too much hi-hats and stuff like that. But I get that it's a vibe, and the greatest memories that you'll ever receive are the ones with the greatest emotional attachment. And my emotional attachment to bodybuilding is from then. So I can't really fathom some of the drive of the people that are now, because through those most important years of developing as a bodybuilder, their emotional attachment must be to something else.
Yeah.
So it's a hard question. I've gone a bit trippy on you there. I do see.
No, it's cool. No, I'm just saying I've got to shoot in like 2 minutes, guys. So I might have to pull the plug here. Sorry.
No drama.
No, but
Cool.
we'll just quickly try and get out of you. We do 5 top tips. So as a parting gift, if you can give us just, you know, shoot at the hip, sort of 5 top tips.
5 top tips for bodybuilding. Oh, I know which one I can finish with.
Anything really.
5 top tips for bodybuilding. Don't just do something because you heard it was good by one person. Understand what you're actually doing before you go ahead with it. Less is sometimes more is sometimes more. Try and work out where the actual medium is between there. Okay. Try and listen to people who seem like they know what they're talking about, but like, you know, also just the more you speak to someone like about a subject, you'll start realizing like what they actually know about it regarding the bodybuilding sort of scene. You know, if they can chirp off 1 or 2 quick quotes, that's great, but anyone can recycle stuff like that. If you can speak to them continuously and you actually work out, oh, hang on, some of that doesn't quite make sense, you might pick up a little bit more and then be able to divulge what you need to know from it. Number 4 would be always listen to the Bash Bros podcast when it comes out. And number 5 would be, when you are on stage, and this is words from my late mentor again, when you are on stage, you have spent a lot of money and a lot of time to get there, so fucking smile.
That's one I definitely need to work on. I just look worse smiling. Maybe
just grin slightly.
Yeah, I think maybe a grimace might be able to roll it.
Or just stick your tongue out, and go. Like, you know, at least everyone else will smile.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Tom, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for spending the time. We went on many.
Guys, appreciate it.
We went on many tangents. I feel like there was room for much more, and we usually cap them at an hour.
Oh, well.
But it was great to have you. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it massively. I will speak to you guys soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.